Today we are turning this empty space with just my records stacked against the wall into my dream music corner. We're getting new furniture, a new record player, which will be explained. That was an unexpected addition. I really just wanted to redo this corner, have a place for my records to stay instead of just leaning them against the wall. And it's turned into this really lovely space that I'm so happy with. And so I'm super excited to share this video with you and show the process of creating this dream music corner in my room. Let's get on with it. So I went with these IKEA Kallax units, and here I've got a shelf because I've bought 2 units. One I'm going to use for the record player and the records underneath, and the other one I can use as just general storage in my room. And I thought it would be cool to get this little shelf divider so that I can put like jumpers on one shelf or like candles on one shelf or books or whatever, just as a separator, because it is quite a big space if you're not going to use it for something like records or for shoes, which I've got one that I currently use for shoes. And it was very easy to set this up. I did this first because I was like, I want to have a win under my belt. So I felt like this would be the easiest thing to start setting up because I've never set up any other furniture before. So I was like, let's start with the easiest piece and like gain some confidence through putting this together, and then I will feel able to tackle the unit itself. And of course it took me a bit longer than I thought, because with this kind of thing I feel like it always does. You'll think, oh, this will take me an hour, and it will take you like 3 hours. But this starting piece obviously didn't take me that long. It was the units themselves. Putting this together was so easy, and I was so proud of myself. I was like, yay! I mean, to be honest, it is quite flimsy. Like, I wouldn't trust putting anything heavy on these shelves. And here they've got these little stickers to make sure that it slides into the shelf on the Kallax unit really easily. I put these on kind of askew. I used to think I was a perfectionist, but looking at the way that I've done this, it's sort of like slapdash. I've kind of switched from being a perfectionist to being like done is better than perfect, but I'm kind of wondering if I've gone too far the other way, because looking at it I was like, oh my gosh, these are not even, and it kind of bothered me. But it works, and there was no problem putting this into the shelf. So from that point of view, it really doesn't matter that they're not straight, but part of me is like, this bothers me. And then I decided to tackle this basket. Tackle is maybe the wrong word. This was super easy to set up because the 4 sides are all together already, and you just have to put in the base. And it was a bit of like a puzzle. And then there's just these little hooks which secure the bottom in place. And I was like, this basket will be great for like storing jumpers or socks or tights, like seasonal things. So when it's winter, I can put all of my really summery clothes in here. And then when it's summer, as it is now, I've got all my winter stuff in there. It did smell kind of weird. So I was like, I'm just gonna drench this with some body spray. This is the Sol de Janeiro. I was really happy to have put those things, put those two together, that basket and the shelf, and I was like, fine, here we go. I am now going to tackle the units. I liked the basket. I'm just showing here this wicker dresser, so I liked the basket because I thought that would match quite well with the dresser. You can also get like just a cloth like basket, which is the same sort of vibe and also a lot cheaper, but I was like, I'll pay the extra for this like wicker effect basket because it will go with the rest of my room. And they're not right next to each other, so it doesn't really matter, but I thought it would match more. And I'm moving all of my furniture out of the way because I thought it would be best to set this up in situ. So at the beginning I was like, I'll just set it up at the end of my bed where I set up the other things, the basket and the shelf. I was like, I'll set up the unit here, but then I was thinking, no, let's clear a big space for this. So I moved everything out of the way, which then I realized I needed to do some cleaning. So I did some dusting as well, and I did give this a proper hoover. I didn't film that. I hoovered it again later on when you see that I'm actually assembling the record player, but we will get to that. Did a bit of dusting as I'd moved the bed back, so there was some... I usually am quite good at cleaning, so it's fine. I then was very excited and also quite heartened as I took these things out. You can see that they are quite chunky. So I was ordering it online and I'd seen like different pictures of it. So I was like, hopefully this unit will be what I want it to be. I like the instruction booklet with the little drawings of the people. It was just me doing this, but I'm sure it would have been easier if you'd had someone helping. It looks quite dense and quite chunky, so I was like, I feel like this will be good and will support the weight of the record player. So these are all of the pieces. Looking back, why did I have them standing up right next to the records? If they had toppled over, that would have been very bad. But all was fine. I had some music on in the background because of course I did. This as well was actually quite, I don't know if I had some problem with like joints in my hands. I don't know if it was like nerve pain or like what, but it was actually quite difficult to do this. I think if I was assembling this now, so this was back in April that I set it up, I think if I was setting this up now, it would be completely fine. But I had like weird joint pain, so this was actually quite difficult to do because you have to be not strong, but you've got to be quite like forceful with it. And yeah, you can see I'm struggling a little bit, but it's all fine and it worked out in the end. I was able to do this. But at one point I was like, shall I just set up one and then leave the other one till tomorrow? Because yeah, it was quite painful. I persevered and it was all fine. And I mean, both of the units are still standing. I don't know why I don't have like faith in myself, but I'm still quite surprised that they're both fine still, you know, and they've got my record player on now, as we will see later. And, you know, I'm not like scared that they're gonna fall apart or anything. The first two bits were obviously really easy to put together because, you know, that you don't have to like negotiate anything else. But as you start pulling more elements on, you're like, oh, I need to make sure this matches up with this bit. I need to make sure the shelf matches up with, you know, it just becomes a little bit more complicated. But I was able to do it. And yeah, it didn't take so long. I did this a day after I'd finished work and I was kind of a bit tired. But I was also excited because I was like, oh, I want to see what this looks like and work out where I'm going to put the second unit, because I knew where the first one was going to go, but I wasn't sure where I was going to put the second one. And I tried it in a few different places, and to be honest, part of me is still like, is this the right place for it? But I mean, it's been there for a few months now and I've kind of got used to it being where it is, and I'm happy with that. Here is the unit assembled in place. I was very excited about this because it's exactly what I imagined, like it's what I'd hoped it would be. And that's such a cool feeling, because sometimes with these kind of projects, you've either like imagined the space wrong, or something won't fit, or like it won't look the way that you thought. But it was really cool. As I was putting the records in, I was like, this is the vision that I had, and it's coming to life, and I'm so pleased. Initially, I tried the basket here. I've got it now in the other unit, but just to see, I was like, let's see what this looks like. And I quite like it here. Initially, I was going to use the second unit as my bedside table. So here, I'm just moving all of the stuff that's on my bedside table onto this unit, because I'm going to move the bedside table and then put the other unit in its place. This I tried to move, but eventually I was like, I need to take the drawers out of it because it's otherwise not going to be possible to move. And of course I had to have a dance break, as I've been doing throughout. The plan was to get rid of that shelf, that plant stand. I don't know the name for it, but it was just a metal stand that I had a plant on, and I'm going to put the plant on the bedside table like this. This was the initial plan, and then put the other unit as my bedside table, but it ended up being an awkward height, and I'm sure it was something that I could have got used to, but I was like, no, let's move the bedside table back. And then I put the record player on and my journal next to the chair, next to the record player, so that I'm maybe more encouraged to write just throughout the day as opposed to just at one point during the day, which has been the case. This is the other unit with the shelf. It looks so cool. It's absolutely boiling today. So I have the curtains shut in my room to keep things cool, but for the sake of filming, I'm going to open the curtains. Just because then we'll have some better light. Let's go. This I put up, was it in April? And we're now at the end of July. I set everything up perfectly. I was so excited to have like a dedicated space and have my player on top. There's nothing here because I went to put on a record and the player was broken. We took it down to someone at the weekend to see if they could fix it and they couldn't, which was a shame, but at least that answered the question and I was like, fine. Now it's time to invest in a new record player. Before I had an all-in-one thing. It was a CD player, a record player, and a cassette player, and you could record, if you had a record, you could record it onto a CD. So it was a handy thing, but it was old and it died. So this time I've gone for a turntable and speakers. So this is just for records. I play CDs in the car. These are the only cassettes I have, and I have actually recorded them onto CD. So I'm okay for now. I will be keeping my eye out on Vinted or on Depop for anyone selling CD players because they're like £40 to buy new. I don't know why I expected them to be like £20 to buy new, but here we are. I am so excited. I've got they're Bluetooth bookshelf speakers, so I'll be able to play music from my phone over Bluetooth. I did invest quite a lot of money into buying this, but I know it'll bring me a lot of joy. It's something that I've wanted to do for months. Have this area finally set up. Let's get this set up! This day was absolutely boiling hot, just to reiterate. And I was like, I'm gonna be brave and set this stuff up, but that really kind of added to the annoyance of the whole day because it was a bit of a pain setting this up and it was also boiling hot. But I am really happy with how it turned out, which we shall see. So these speakers, I didn't do so much research, but I was like, well, I'm fairly confident that JVC is a good brand and they were on sale. So I was like, this is a better deal than some of the other ones that I'm currently looking at. So I didn't think too much about it because that has held me back in the past. I've been like, I need to look at every single option and check every single thing. It's like, no, just go for it. Here I'm making space. I'm getting rid of my journals. As I said, I'm moving them elsewhere because we're setting up the turntable and the speakers there. I, at this point, thought, actually, I really need to do some cleaning because you can see here it's quite dusty. And I was like, once I set up the speakers and the turntable with all the wires behind it and everything, I may not be able to do a proper clean or like a deep clean as often as I'm able to now with nothing on the unit because it moves quite easily. Once I've got the stuff with all the wires, might be more difficult. So I was like, let's take some time to do a proper clean. So I moved everything out. I got the Hoover and yeah, I didn't really film any of that because as I said, it was boiling. So I sort of gave up filming because I was like, I'm getting really hot and irritated. But I did move all of the furniture around and hoovered and cleaned every single part. I feel like this is a really odd angle, but I wanted to show the player. Let me fix this. So you can see I have now assembled the record player and I've had this here for about a week now and honestly I love it so much. I didn't film more of the assembly process in terms of setting up the wires and everything because as you saw it was like 29 degrees that day. It was absolutely boiling and I was getting very cross because it was boiling hot and it was actually quite simple to set up, but because I'd not done anything like this before, everything, even though it's simple, it took, hours. Even working out the wiring for the speakers took me so long. And I had to put the belt on the turntable and then it was like twisted and then I untwisted it. But then I was like, wait, no, it came twisted, so maybe it's supposed to be twisted. And I was trying to Google it and work out what the right thing to do was. Add in the boiling hot weather and it was just not a good time. So I didn't really film any of it because I was like, I'm very, very stressed. And also you saw I was wearing like a sports bra and that blue top. It was just not flattering, I did not look nice. At least today I'm looking okay. That's not the point, but I'm glad I didn't film any more of that day. It is all now set up and I am really thrilled with it. It sounds great. I was worried that having the speakers here would cause some problem because I'd read that you're not supposed to have the speakers on the same surface as the turntable because then the vibrations from the speakers as they're playing disrupt the vinyl as it's playing. So I decided to move one of the speakers onto my bedside table, which I don't know if I like because I did used to have all of my books and journals. They're now here, which is okay. I did like them on my bedside table. So this is sort of where we're at now, but I don't know if this is going to change. I still want to do, and I think I will do this in the next video, I think I'm going to do a whole separate video about decorating. You'll see I've started a wall collage up here, and I bought these like clear perspex shelves that you can display your vinyl on. So some of these I will be able to do that with, like for example this one. I will be able to put that on the wall because that's just a single thing, whereas some of the other ones are a bit heavier. So what is this here? Crunch. Yeah, this is like a double one. Sorry, a double one. So I think that even I'll obviously take the records out if I'm gonna then put it on the shelves. So just display the cover, but even that, I'm gonna try putting up with command strips, and I don't know how sturdy that's gonna be. I'm gonna do a trial one just over there because obviously I don't want something up here that's then if it's gonna fall, it will then fall on the turntable, which would not be great. So I'm gonna try one on that wall and see how it holds up before I put one maybe here, like behind me. So that's the plan. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way this corner of the room has turned out because I started just with this chair, got this a couple of summers ago, and now it's this whole little corner, and it's what I imagined it would be. So before it was just the chair and the records on the floor, as you saw at the beginning of the video, and now I have this whole little setup. And part of me is like, I am using up like loads of floor space, and it is more crowded than it was. Like this used to be a lot of open space. But the other part of me is like, I do like this, and I like having all this music stuff down here. There's a shelf there with some shoes, which I'm not sure if that's going to stay like that. What should we play? I mean, it's like 11 p.m, so I don't really feel like playing anything. Really, I think let's just go with this. This is very, I'm just gonna say inoffensive. I don't know the word. It's sweet and calming. So I'll put this on. And this is what it's like sitting here now with this setup. I am absolutely thrilled with it. It's exactly what I imagined, and the vision has come to life, and I'm so happy. If you would like to see the decorating episode or when that comes out, please subscribe so you can see that as soon as it's out. And I will leave my declutter, the first episode of that series, on the screen, just a general room declutter. I'm also working on a wardrobe one. So yeah, we've got different room videos coming out. I've got my episode of The Little Things coming out soon as well. Lots of good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I will see you in the next one.